Welcome back to the Just Because podcast, where we talk about cosplay, life, and awesome stuff in general. I'm Daniela, and I'm joined with
Jeremy. That's me. I'm your boy. We're back. But this time, Danny, we've got two special guests with us because we're talking about something pretty exciting. So today we are joined by Jacqueline May. Sorry, Jack. I'm sorry. I had to remember your Instagram. So if you don't know, Jack is the executive director of Smash, one of the biggest conventions in Australia at this point in time. She's been cosplaying for more than 10 years, and she's also a streamer who works in promoting women in content creation, which is fascinating. And we're also joined by JustBeCos, who is an international representative for Australia on many occasions. They've been competing for more than 15 years and work as a professional cosplayer. So, Jack, Vi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Beautiful. Now, what are we talking about today? Because, Jack, you came to us with a very cool idea. What's on your brain? What does the executive director of Smash want to tell the cosplay world today?
So this pertains to our Smash Chibi event. We have a very exciting announcement for Smash Chibi in terms of cosplay and international competitions, but I am going to hand over to Vi to officially tell you what's going on, because they were the ones who came to me with the idea and really helped spearhead it from the organizational side. I just spearheaded it from the Smash side. So Vi, you want to tell everyone what's going on?
So, as of early July, it was officially announced that Australia would once again be competing in ECG overseas, which is the Extreme Cosplay Gathering Finals competition, which is held in Paris, France every year. And now that Smash Chibi is announced, we can finally announce that ECG is going to have its first return round at this convention.
That's really cool, really exciting. Because
so exciting! Oh my gosh!
From memory, because that used to be held at DreamHack last year or the year before, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was held at DreamHack, and when they announced this year they weren't coming back to Australia, everyone was really disappointed, and Vi had been looking around and shopping amongst the conventions in Australia to see who could host ECG, and I put my hand up for Smash, and yeah, the rest is history.
That's really cool. So with ECG, that's obviously the Extreme Cosplay Gathering, as for anyone who's been doing competitions.
I was about to ask that. Yeah. I was like, what does it stand for again?
It used to be the European Cosplay Gathering. I got the chance to connect with the guy who runs it when I went to Japan a couple of years ago, and he said, oh yeah, we're coming to Australia. I'm like, oh, that's pretty exciting. Tell me more. So, Vi, what can you actually tell us about the Extreme Cosplay Gathering for anyone who has never heard of it before, never seen it? Like, what should we be excited about in something like ECG coming to Australia?
So ECG is another sort of like skit-based cosplay competition with a 50% performance component and a 50% costuming component. And you enter of teams varying from 1 to 4 people and create a performance suited for the massive stage they have at finals.
So that was in Paris in France. You've already competed in that one last year, was it? Or the year before?
Yes, so ECG has had one round in Australia, and myself and Vampria were the 2 Australian representatives from season 12.
So, if you wanted to go and enter ECG, what should we expect? Like, what's the competition like? What are the judges like? What's Paris like? Like,
I'm so curious about the applying process too. Like, what's expected, what the process is like.
So for the first round of ECG, we're going to be hosting at Smash Chibi. We're only going to be doing a solo run round, just as sort of like an ease into, the competition this time.
Right.
So it will be open to solo entrants with an additional stage assist. So you'll be creating a performance of around 1.5 minutes that you'll perform both at the preliminary in Australia and again at finals in Paris, usually around the beginning of July, if you make it through and go to finals. And so what you do over at finals is you have a 4-day convention and you usually fly in the day before, get acquainted with all the other entrants. meet everyone, and then you have 4 days of rehearsals and pre-judging, and then the finals competition. And you also get to spend a fair bit of time like actually going around Japan Expo, which is the biggest convention in Europe.
That's really cool. Oh my gosh. I was so curious about how it differs from other competitions. Like as someone who's entered ECG, what is it about ECG that excites you and makes you want to join?
So one of the aspects there's a lot of aspects that I really like about ECG. I like that you can enter from anywhere between 1 to 4 people, and Australia will get back into that full 1 to 4 people in the future after our first round. So I like the possibilities it has there, and I like the possibilities it has allowing entrants to have a stage ninja. But I also like that you can essentially enter any existing series. So it's not limited to anime or games. You can do Western media. You can do musicals if you want. As long as it's an existing character with, an official design, you can do anything. And if you go and look at former seasons of ECG, you'll see that there is a huge variance going from like Phantom of the Opera, Night at the Museum, Disney series. When Vampria and I entered, we did Genshin. So the possibilities are really, really open. So I'm hoping that this competition will just bring in a completely new audience into the performance competition scene in Australia.
Did you say Night at the Museum? Danny, do you want to be Ben Still and I'll be Owen Wilson?
Oh my gosh, that would be so funny. I don't know if anyone would take us seriously, but I think it would be hilarious.
We don't need to be taken seriously. Like, it's just something different, right?
Yeah, it'd be so amusing. Oh my gosh. I was also curious about any advice you'd give any Aussies who want to join ECG in, is it this year that it's going to be happening, guys? It's this year, isn't it?
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
One of those dates of Smash TV, Jack.
One of those dates of Smash TV. Oh gosh, let me check. 22nd and 23rd of November. At Rose Hill, we're having a bit of a throwback.
Interesting. So that's going to be pretty much towards the end of November, which is, I believe, that's a pretty free-ish area of nothing happening in terms of conventions, which is probably something you guys have had to think about. When's a good place to put the convention in the calendar, I suppose.
So we were really mindful of placement for Smash Chibi, more so because of Brisbane Supernova and Christmas Oz Comic Con.
Yep.
So while it is what we affectionately call a dead zone for Sydney events, it very much is not a dead zone for national events.
Interesting. With Smash Chibi, let's kind of move on to talking about that for a little bit now as well, because as a convention organizer and via you going to 27 cons a year, what makes this particular time of the year ideal for conventions? Because we all talk about it's con season, it's time to go to conventions, lining up several weeks in a row. It typically tends to kick off sometime in March, April, and then just go consistently throughout the year. What made you guys choose November specifically for something like this?
So we considered March initially, but it all came down to wanting to run it this year. So we made the decision at the start of the year to do Smash Chibi, because our flagship event it has grown exponentially over the years. Like you look at it now and we pretty much take over all of the halls of the ICC, which is insane to think when Smash started in Town Hall and then went to Roundhouse, then went to Rose Hill, and you just look at how big it's grown.
Yeah.
And so we've made the decision to do a Chibi event, which really kind of is, you got to think of it as a bit like an artist market. So what we had on level 4 this year is actually quite an accurate representation of what Chibi will look like. So it'll be an artist market with only a couple of exhibitors, and then 1 or 2 performance stages, which ECG will run off one of those, and some small arts and culture stuff. So it's not going to be a huge event. You're looking at an event that foot traffic wise is like a tenth of the size
Yep.
of Smash, which is crazy to think. But yeah, it's really just meant to be, I guess, a good way for us to round out the year. And we decided November because there's not much that goes on in Sydney past September. So we have very, very clustered events in New South Wales.
Yes. Oh my God.
I would say that we don't really officially kick off until, well, next year it will be March. Animega will be the start of our convention season next year. And then so it'll be, Animega in March. Then we don't really have much going on in April. And then come May, you get like Comic Gong, which is down in Wollongong. You get C4, which is Central Coast Comic Con up north, like up Gosford Way. But again, they're not massive events. They don't draw in a very big crowd. Our big events, which are Sydney Supernova, Smash, and then Sydney OzCon, are all within 4 months of each other.
It's absolute insanity.
It is insanity. And then it kind of just, that's that. And then we don't have anything. So we really wanted to be able to, one, have a summer convention because
Yes.
We're sick of
Sydney
getting
only
con
gets-
flu in the middle of winter after Smash.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yes.
And also just being mindful of like our Sydney-based artists as well, who might not be able to travel as much to other states. Like even then, when you look at it, like Canberra Comic Con, which is something people travel to, is in August. So all of the cons that a Sydney person or a New South Wales person would go to, they're kind of clustered between like a May through to September, which is not a very big window. And then looking at the calendar, we wanted to be after PAX, which was kind of a little selfish on our point because a lot of our staff go to PAX.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be able to still go down. And then just being mindful of Brisbane Supernova, because I have a lot of friends who are Sydney-based who only go to, say, Brisnova or OzCon Christmas because they just want another event to go to.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I was hearing a lot in the community. And
So just with that, you also mentioned that, Rose Hill Garden's about 1/10 of the foot traffic of the ICC, which is understandable. But given Smash's brand name and reputation and, the banger events you guys have put on over the last few years, will it be difficult to kind of contain it to just Artist Alley and a few vendors? Because I feel like people are still going to make the trip to this event regardless of how small you claim it to be, just because it is run by Smash. So what are you kind of expecting with that kind of reputation?
The thing is that we don't know what to expect.
Right.
So, as many would know, Smash is a non-for-profit. We're purely volunteer run and based. So, all of our events need to, break even for us to continue running them. And doing Chibi is a significant risk for us in that we've never run it before.
Right.
And even with our reputation, it's so hard to say if people are going to be able to travel interstate for it or if we're just going to be relying more on New South Wales-based people.
Right.
Our plan is, if it goes well this year, to run it again.
Sure.
Because, like I said, we need to
cover costs, we get it.
Well, no, but we can't expand our main event anymore. We were all chatting post-event on the weekend and we're like, we can't get any bigger. Like, we just simply can't. It'd be too much for our team. I think we had something like over 40,000 people come through.
Woo!
Yeah, that was crazy. I had a lot of friends get excited about it. They're like, this is so massive. They were like, whoa, this is cool. And it's huge.
And like you compare that to something like PAX, and PAX I think gets like 80 to 100,000. I think the official reporting numbers are.
Damn.
And they hire the entire of Melbourne Convention Centre, which is crazy to think.
I mean, are you guys already doing that for the ICC, or is there space to grow?
So there is a lot more of the ICC we could hire.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot more that you could hire, but we have, if you factor our queuing hall, we effectively hire all the halls.
Yeah, right.
ICC now, which is crazy. When I started back in 2023, we only hired the 4 halls on level 1, and then 2024, we then hired out Parkside because we had to expand, and that didn't work too much in our favor just because it was so far to travel for
Yep.
like arts and culture and cosplay and everything. And so then we were like, well, we can't really expand horizontally. We got to go up. So yeah, it is pretty crazy to think how we've grown. I think we've got like a 13% year-on-year growth, which
Wow. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
That's crazy. It's so exciting though, because I don't know about you guys, but everyone gets like the post-con blues. So the idea of Smash Chibi coming up in November, I already saw the post and had people share it to me and be like, "Did you see this? It's back. It's not over yet." So
We got
exciting.
we got something like 2,000 shares on that post. It was actually
Oh, jeez.
crazy. Like we didn't
Wow.
know how it would be received, and I think we're all sitting there thinking, "Oh dear, do we need to make the event a little bigger?" But we were keeping it small on purpose.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that there isn't room for it to grow a little bit more over the years. But if we do it again. But ultimately, it's literally just artist booths, performance, cosplay, bit of stages, arts and culture, and some
Yep.
exhibitors. So it's not designed to be a massive event.
Yep.
Interesting. Vi, in your opinion, because ECG is obviously any competition of any kind, obviously that involves big prizes like this. Do you reckon that's going to have a big draw towards the event specifically just for ECG, or do you reckon it's, the cosplay competitive community is their own thing? It's not going to influence the numbers at an event.
I think it's hard to say, but I do know that there was a big appreciation for ECG in the community in the even 1 year it did run.
Yeah.
So from what I could see with like community reception, it absolutely will be a draw for the con. So I think it generally quite looks very positive.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So are you going to be the one who, I suppose in this case, are you going to be running the event? Are you judging the event? Are you going to blow everyone out of the water again by competing in the event? Like, what's kind of your skin in the game at this point in time?
I want to work on helping to grow the event at the very beginning. I would love to compete again someday, but I think my involvement in helping out will be of a much bigger benefit to the community. We've got a team that we're forming who are a bunch of very like dedicated people within the community who want to work on the event for ECG. So it's absolutely going to be a team effort in getting it up off the ground again.
Oh, I love that. That's so nice. Yes, community run event. Let's go. I'm curious, do you have any advice for anyone who might want to enter ECG, like if it's their first competition ever? I know there are a lot of people who missed out on DreamHack and said, "Oh, I'll do it next year," and then buy DreamHack.
Hi, DreamHack.
Yeah, what would you write? Like any advice you would give to our new competitors?
There's 2 bits of advice I'd give. I would go and watch the competition on YouTube because all of the past seasons are uploaded on YouTube. So you can get a pretty good idea of like the kind of like themes that people really like seeing over there and some of like the ideas and how people like potentially utilize the stage and the audio and, stage sets, all of that kind of thing. But I'd also say just to get really creative with what you do, because the sky's the limit for a competition like ECG. And with all of the conditions of the competition where you can have stuff like a stage ninja, you have potentially a massive screen at finals and stuff that you can work with. Just get really creative and try and think of something that's never been shown before, because that will be like something that sticks with both the judges and the audience, even like post the con.
Weird question. We're talking health and safety now. How far is pushing the envelope? Are we talking like, can we use fire? Can we use explosives? Can we use lasers and stuff?
No projections.
Like, this is Europe we're talking about. I don't know how well they're going to get there and what the health and safety's like in Paris. But
Please, none of that. Nothing that'll make people slip. No confetti. Like, I can just hear one of my event managers in my ear right now, Daniel, being like, none of the above, because he's so like work health and safety. Like, we'll stand on a chair in front of him and he's like, get a step ladder, get off that chair. So nothing that could cause potential injury to yourself or someone else by leaving fluid on the stage, cats, please.
I'll give a few quick examples of some very creative stuff I saw. As a judge for ECG finals this year, I saw one of the countries do a lion dance with their assist. So they played the character at the front, and their assistant played the sort of like tail end of the lion.
That's cool.
I saw people triggering effects on stage, like all the way across the stage. So it looked like magic was happening. Yeah, there's some just really cool stuff you can do that you would not be able to do otherwise as a purely solo performance. So think of those kind of ideas that really give the illusion of like magic.
That's cool. Oh my gosh.
Jack, what's the draw for you guys hosting something like ECG at, for example, an event like Smash Chibi? Because we know that, according to Vi, we don't know if it's going to boost ticket sales, if it's going to be, something that's their own thing. But what's the benefit for you guys wanting to host an event like this? Because you could easily just make artist markets and stalls and people will show up. I guarantee it. But what's the draw for you guys wanting to host an event like this?
So it all comes down to our grassroots mentality that we are a community-run convention that's for the community. And so ECG was something that people really loved, and I have been working really, really hard to try and grow cosplay at Smash this year, which has not come without its issues.
Of course.
Because not everyone likes change. And so bringing ECG in is just, it's refreshing. We've had WCS for quite a few years. Everyone really loves it. And so we were looking at how we could expand on our international footprint and give more opportunity to people in Australia. And Smash is in a very fortunate position where even though we are a non-for-profit, we are large enough that we can build things like WCS and ECG into our budget. Thank you to like our amazing sponsors who help out as well with that. And so it's really a case of like, what more can we offer the community, and getting more international comps over here is a big part of that for cosplay. And, doing things like this year, we changed our own competition to be tiered so that we can kind of bring that more back into the community. Yeah, but that's what it comes down to. Ultimately, it's just growing our cosplay footprint, because I think it kind of gets lost. And I think this can be said for all conventions. They forget how important cosplayers are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's so easy to just go, we'll just like run one small comp. The prizes won't be that great.
Gift vouchers.
It's kind of like
for your local bakery.
It's like a throwaway to appease people. And my day job is working in events, so I know how to run a good event. And so my focus for Smash this year was a bit less about running an amazing event and focusing on all those little details and letting my teams, manage their own areas a bit more, so that I could focus on where I thought we needed some improvements. And cosplay is a big area for that. Like, we haven't ever really grown it in the time that I have been a part of it. It's always just been the same copy paste each year, with the exception of like the addition of the photo studio. So this year we went really outside of the box. We had the illustrious prop rental. We had more photographers circulating a photo wall. And so then, ECG is a natural progression for us to offer a bit more, just to the general cosplayer who likes to compete, And I think it's not as, and we've seen the success that WCS has had. So ECG is a natural progression for that, because it is similar in some ways, but it's also not as limiting. Obviously they still have their differences, and Vi could definitely speak on that a lot more than me. I've never competed in either, but a big draw card for ECG was that it wasn't limited to Japanese IP. And even though Japanese culture is still a really big focus for us at Smash, I think we have become a lot more of a mainstream con now. We're not just limited to Japanese culture and anime. You know,
Yeah.
our gaming area is even expanding to kind of reflect that as well.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
noticed
I
that.
think
Sorry.
I think even like anime and games are changing over the years, and we need to sort of like keep up with those trends. Like we're seeing so many like Chinese, Korean adaptations of various series and stuff, and that is now being like reflected in the demographic that
Yeah,
Smash sees. So
absolutely.
it's really good to see like a competition that can like reflect how these, you know, changes are happening within, you know, the pop culture community. We've got all these, you know, big Western games as well. And so it's great to have a comp where people can show their love for cosplay on stage and performance through such a comp as ECG.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely noticed that a lot of cons have picked up the pace with branching out and not just sticking to one theme. I think it's really cool that we're going to have ECG. I've always been so curious about how the competitors are selected because there's always so many talented people that apply to enter a competition. I'm like, how the heck do you decide who's even going to compete? I can't even begin to imagine the difficulty of picking.
That's a good one. Do you actually know if it would be some application process where you have to apply, going to take a look at your portfolio and be like, yeah, we'll pick this one, this one,
Yeah.
this one? Or is it, I don't know, dependent on how many people actually enter at all? It's like, oh, well, 5 people entered. Yes, all 5 are going on stage. Or what's kind of the,
Yeah.
what's the wall that we have to jump over to get into this competition?
Yeah.
We will have a cap for the entries because there is only so much time we can have
course.
on stage and so much time we can do prejudging at the convention. So there will be an application process for ECG. And if we go over that cap that we have, then we will need to make selections. And this will be based on your portfolio that you submit, which is, you know, a log of all of your progress of the costume. And there will be a bunch of factors that, you know, help determine which are the sort of like more promising entries for us to receive, which we will talk about when we post the rules to better guide people on what is a good cosplay application.
Nice.
Okay.
So for both ECG and Smash Chibi, this is obviously the first time that I'm assuming this podcast episode is the first time that we're kind of going to send it out to the world. Is that kind of what it is? Cool.
Yep,
Well,
that is correct.
apart from people who actually listen to this episode when it gets released, as everyone, if you're a JustBeCos fan, you know this is a Monday that we're releasing this, all right? But apart from that, when does the general public find out more details about both the Smash Chibi event and also ECG? When does that kind of gets released in writing? Is probably the better thing.
Well, we don't have a planned release date just
Okay.
yet.
Okay, that's fine.
And that's more because we are just coming off the back of our flagship event.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that we can now say we have a flagship event and another.
Wow, look at you go. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But probably within a fortnight of this releasing. We're still, I think the most stressful part of Chibi right now is that we are still very much in the planning phase. And it kind of hit us on the weekend that we're only 4 months away.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
In 4 months. And I am not event director for this one. One of my event managers is actually taking it over. So
Right.
it's a bit scary.
Yeah.
I'm a control freak. I don't like handing over the reins to anyone.
Yeah.
But they'll do a great job and I'll be there to help them the whole way. But we're just now in the next fortnight briefing all of our teams, getting everything set up. I imagine applications for this are going to open sometime in August. But I can probably pull some dates out of thin air to be like, this is an ideal timeline, and I'll end up being like, yeah, that's fine, we'll just go with those. Yeah, Vi is very much heading this up. I just facilitated us getting it. I was the one sitting there going, we need to get this comp, and everyone was like, oh, another like international thing, and I was like, I can get us a team, but we need to run this comp.
Yeah.
To push it through. But yeah, I would say applications are around August. So information will no doubt come out before the end of July. It just depends on our marketing team. They like 2-week lead times for everything.
2 weeks
To make
sounds
sure it's
like a
perfect.
nice round number. So I
Yeah.
hope it's going to be
Yeah,
really good.
like 2 weeks, you'll message them and be like, "Hey, can we get this like put up on socials or on the story?" And they'll be like, "You gotta wait 2 weeks. 2
Yep.
weeks."
Actually just made me think about, sorry to interrupt,
No,
Jeremy,
please.
just quickly, because a lot of people don't realize how much goes into conventions and competitions, and they're very easy to like judge and get upset about little things or big things. What could you guys both briefly explain to our audience in regards to how much actually goes into making these things run?
Oh, well, to put it like this, I work like a 38 to 40-hour work week, right? That's my full-time work.
Cool.
Smash probably takes up another 20 hours per week
Ooh.
on average. And I think for me, when it comes to, doing an event like Smash, like I'll get off work at like 5, and then I'll kind of do stuff for a little bit. Sometimes I'll stream or I'll go to the gym. And then sometimes I'll have meetings from 8 o'clock till like midnight for Smash. Because we're all volunteers, so we're all working outside of our work hours, and it is a lot that goes into it. And so I think the worst thing for me seeing that I sometimes see, and it's really hard to not separate it and not take it personally, is when people complain about the tiny little things that might have gone wrong at an event, and you're like, it takes so much time and effort, and we don't get paid. And we try our best to put on the best event every year, and we take on feedback, and there are some things we just cannot change.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably the most frustrating bit. And it's so hard when you see the negative feedback on social media and you know that it's not directed personally at you, but like for me, because I facilitate, I manage the managers who manage everyone else.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like a stab to the heart. I'm like, oh, I've let someone down. But it's you're not going to make everyone happy. It's a sad reality. And if this weekend, weekend just gone, our Saturday lines to get in were insane. We were watching them and we were like, how do we fix this? And it's because we made people clip their own lanyards on Saturday this year.
Interesting.
And so it went a lot slower. So on Sunday, we call it, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but everyone we call it our lanyard sweatshop, which sounds really bad. But basically we get a whole group of people, and it's staff and crew. So everyone gets involved. I know Byron was doing it on the Sunday morning, Danny, and you sit on the floor with a box of lanyards and a box of passes, and you sit there clipping. But
Lanyard sweatshop, beautiful.
And then that made Sunday go a lot smoother, and we were trying to do it so that our poor crew weren't having to spend so much time clipping lanyards. And it didn't just work. So, we do take on feedback and adjust the event as it comes. But I think just be patient. Remember, there are other people on this side of, when you want to be really negative about an event. There's other people on the side of it, especially like Smash, Avcon, and Manga. We're all non-for-profit, so we all do it volunteer-based.
So guys, if you're someone who gets frustrated at LineCon, just think about those videos that you like to share to your friends and be like, hey, look at this video about this Karen, like abusing this poor Hungry Jack's worker or something. It's like, yeah, you're growing up to be one of those people. Just watch out the next time that you're grumpy at LineCon, all right?
We try.
They're doing their best.
We do try, and no event is perfect. No event is without issues. So all we can do is learn and take feedback on. A pro tip to everyone: be nice to people. If you're gonna come yelling at my staff,
we're gonna remember you. You're not coming back next year.
What you want. But if you're nice and you've lost your pass, Well, we might figure.
We say we don't. It's your fault, but depending on how nice you are.
We get so many in Lost and Found.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
crazy.
Oh.
Our Slack channel this year was just our crew being like, I found another lost pass. I found another lost pass. I found another lost pass. And we were like, that's great and all, but that's not an issue for us.
Nah.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
God.
places their pass, that's on them.
Yep.
Vi,
What about you, Vi? Yeah.
I was going to ask.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just like, well, here's some Smash things.
I will waffle for ages.
No, you're so
Sorry,
fine.
What actually made you want to choose? Obviously, you got the reins. Like, oh, you want to do ECG in Australia? When that happened, what made you reach out to Smash personally? I suppose first and foremost over any other convention in Australia. Obviously, no shade to any other convention that's running, but what made you want to choose Smash now that DreamHack has kind of folded up here?
I mean, I'd love to see even more other competitions at other conventions in the future. So if they're ever interested in hosting one, like, please do reach out. I'll try and set something up to start with. But yeah, I think Smash just has a very sort of, like, compared to some of the other conventions in Australia, it's a very cosplay heavy con.
Yeah.
A lot of the attendees come in cosplay, and there's a really big crafting community at Smash. And it draws people from a range of different backgrounds. It's not just games. It's not just anime. It's a whole bunch of various series.
Yeah.
And the demographic is quite young, and I feel also representative of the energy of a competition like ECG, which is just a very sort of like fun, almost whimsy like competition. Fun. And I think not only is that a very good match for the cosplayers, but I think it's great as like an event for entertainment at the convention that people can come to watch, and they don't need to know like a bunch of animes or they don't need to know games. They can just come and appreciate like the fun aspect of it. So I thought it was very like good match.
That's really cool. That's really nice to hear. I mean, as obviously you're someone who's done competitions for a while and you're doing it professionally now, and obviously, as time has gone on in Australia specifically, we've gotten more competitions, there's more opportunities to just grow as a cosplayer or even make it something which you can slowly quit your day job to do something else. How do you feel that has been, I guess, in your experience? Obviously, there's every person listening to this in some capacity is going to be like, oh, man, I wish I could be a professional cosplayer. I wish I could run competitions and conventions and kind of do that, because it's obviously something that's very fun and we're all passionate about in some way. From your experience, do you think stuff like this is something that is good to get involved in to meet those dreams, or do you feel like there's a better way to go about it rather than just doing competitions? Because that's something I've tried to do for a while. Just do competitions. That'll take you to a certain point, I think. But from your experience, how does that fall into line with people's dreams or aspirations of being a professional?
So I think in the professional cosplay sense, there are many different pathways to get into professional cosplay. There is like crafting focused ones where you're, sort of showing off your skill. Maybe you're making cosplay products. Maybe you're like 3D modeling, making patterns. Maybe you're doing stuff like streaming. Potentially you're doing stuff like YouTube and you're more of a personality or something like that. There's a lot of different pathways to get into cosplay. And of course, there's all the management side of things as well, where you're actually running events.
Yeah.
But there's a really big range of stuff. I think competitions do help people get into the professional side of like cosplay through some of those like disciplines.
Yeah.
For me, doing competitions helped me sort of like establish myself as an international cosplay guest and do judging, because I'm putting myself out there on a global stage and showing off myself as a person and also my crafting expertise. So the world gets to see my talents. Skills.
Of course, yes, as they do.
So yeah, I think if you're looking to, get into cosplay from like a crafting or performance perspective, like competitions are absolutely a fantastic way to sort of like put yourself out there.
How do you guys feel about that? As Danny and Jack, are you guys keen to be competitors, you reckon, at some point in time, or do you feel like your path is going down to like, let's go different methods?
Jack has inspired me a lot, honestly.
Oh,
put my big girl pants on and actually compete because I've always been scared. I saw you compete. I saw Jack compete at AvCon, and she did such a good job. And I was like, "That's mom." But it really encouraged me to be like, you know what, maybe I could do it too. You know, maybe I could be up there with her one day. Because it's always nerve-wracking. I don't know about you guys, but it's very easy to be like, oh, it's not good enough. I can't enter.
Yeah.
At least for me, it is at the moment. I'm like, it has to be perfect to even compete with these amazing people I see on stage because I see their work. I'm like, it's so cool. I love it so much. So I'm like, it's almost a respect thing for the cosplayers I'm competing against. Yeah.
I think AvCon was such a weird one for me. So I wasn't nervous about competing at AvCon.
Right.
And that was because I
This is actually funny.
yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna compete. Like, I don't care about winning. I didn't think that I was wearing a winning costume at all. Especially when I walked into the pre-judging room and I saw what everyone else was in, and I was like, oh, like this is it's so basic. And also because my hero cosplays do not win comps very often. And I placed second. And the person who came first definitely deserved it. But I think the interesting thing about comps, and I think the way that I personally approach it, is that you are your own worst critic. Like, you know, even after I'd won runner up and I was talking to some of my friends, I was like, you know, there was another person on stage that I think was more deserving of that than I was. And so it was just very interesting. And I kind of just did it because I was like, oh, I want to get back into competing. AvCon's a smaller event. I'm not gonna have to compete against people like Vi, who have been doing it for like so long. And I think that to me is the most intimidating part of competing is, you know, I have some exceptionally talented friends who get up on that stage and I just don't want to compete against them because I don't feel that I deserve to stand next to them. It's not about, for me, it's not about winning. It's not about, you know, I think, you know, some people compete to win, and if that's why you want to compete, then that's great. I really, competing at AvCon was just a lot of fun. Everyone was so lovely to everyone. Like all the competitors were really lovely to each other backstage, and
Yeah.
you know, that's the important part of it. And then, you know, Danny being like, you inspired me. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. But oh my gosh, I was not expecting that win. I was like, and then it was interesting because I was talking to Henchwench the second day. And I was like, and I was saying to her, I was like, I just didn't expect it. Like, you know, I've been doing this a long time, you know, for almost 10 years. And so I know how to, you know, you learn how to spot people who put a lot of love into their craft and who do make really good costumes. And I was saying to her, you know, oh, I just didn't feel that I deserved the win, blah, blah, blah. And so she was like, well, your foam work was really clean and your paint job was great. And I was like, oh, compliment from the crown champion cosplayer. Hello. So that was a nice little like ego boost for me.
That's so good.
But it did make me realize that, you know, you don't have to have the most extravagant cosplay up on stage. It really is about honing your skills. And it's also interesting, you know, talk to different judges. I think that was the other thing is when I was talking to Hench, I was asking her what she looked for when she judged. And she was saying that she doesn't look at anything that's not audience facing unless it's really, really tight. She's like, I'm not going to flip your seams if they're not going to see it. Which is very interesting because you get some judges who haven't been around as long. And she said they treat it like a garment making competition. She's like, it's not a garment making competition. It's a cosplay comp. I'm like, that's so fair. But she was like, but sometimes, you know, that does really, really matter.
Yeah.
But it does depend on who's judging you. And Vi probably has a lot of different experiences than I do. But it was interesting talking to someone at that level who has won and represented Australia in the Crown Champs. You know, she's that's her second time representing, and you know she came first. It was just interesting talking to her, but Vi probably has very different viewpoint.
Yeah.
I don't know, Vi. If you judge me, you're gonna flip my scene.
Yeah, how much scene flipping and wig brushing are you going to be doing in the wig room?
There's different criteria and stuff, hey, for comps, right?
It felt
Like,
weird.
sometimes-
I remember, Vi, I judged you once for some local competition. I thought, this is weird. Like, why am I judging you? But yeah, what's kind of your criteria when it comes to looking at seams and stuff? How do you do it? Everyone's different, obviously.
I think cosplay is a very non-conventional art form.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily abide by the rules of anything else we have out there. And it's more about sort of like expressing your ideas and thinking about creative solutions to make the designs that you see in these like fantasy series. And
Yeah.
it's like there's possibly no real practical way that those like costumes that you're making could actually exist in real life. So you have to get really creative. So even when it comes to like some of the outfit designs, they're not going to, correspond to an existing garment in the world or anything like that. So you have to get pretty inventive with how you go about like constructing things and all of that. Like how much, you end up looking at an outfit will really depend on, the level and type of the comp and how it's scored. But in general, I love keeping an open mind to like new ideas and people just being creative because, there's so many possibilities and ways of approaching things. There's no like technical wrong or right way to do something. So I just like seeing what people come up with.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
That's a good answer
too.
because I hate sewing. I'll be real with you, Danny. I hate sewing. So
I also don't really like it. I tried. I'm getting better.
So I think
I'm
that's
a pro
why
person.
it's probably a good idea. It's like, you know what? Let's do armor builds or let's make some stupid monster looking thing because you can't judge me on that and say, oh, this is the correct way to make it. This is how you make a
Yeah.
monster. I'm like, no, it's not. You can't tell me that. That's
Especially when it comes to art in general, because cosplay to me is an art. And with any art, it's
all opinion
very
based,
much
right?
like, oh, this makes me feel things. Like, it's a bit.
Did this make me
Your
connect with
skills?
my inner self? Yeah, it did.
I have a controversial opinion. I have
Ooh.
no idea what stitches are called. If my garment is stitched together and it looks nice, do I really
Yeah.
need to know what a French seam
That's
is?
all it is. If it looks
Yeah.
like the picture, looks like the picture.
I have the
Is how
same.
I view. If it's neat, does it matter that I don't know what the seam is called, Vi? Or is that something you're now going to judge me on if you ever judge me?
I mean, I'll put it in an international way as well. That is, I've been judging people from all different like language backgrounds and stuff, and all of those people do not know the term in every single language, so it's fine.
Oh, that's good.
It's like as long as it looks good and it functions, like
We're
you
good.
don't need to know the technical names of everything and every kind of language. Yeah.
Like, people are like, talking about sewing, and they're like, oh, like I do this and I do this and I do this, and I'm like, I cut out a pattern, I put the pattern together,
And I
sew
pray.
the pattern, I sew the pattern, I put it on, I
Use a
pin
pattern?
it to fit. Yeah. I at the very least use patterns, and then once I make the garment, I then go through and I'll like fit the seams to myself. Like I'll go and make all my adjustments and tailor it to myself. That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
And I'm like, if it looks neat at the end of the day, who cares? But even then, I'm like, some of my funny story from my costume I won in 2 weeks ago. I didn't want to hem the neckline on my bodysuit, so I got a lighter and I burnt it around the edge. And when I was in prejudging, I was like, "Yep, this was to make it look like this." So as long as you make everything sound intentional, I think
Yes.
there's actually a lot you can get away with as long as it looks good.
Oh, that's a good one.
I definitely have
Whatever you did on your
Yeah.
costume, that was on purpose. That was on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why is
Don't-
it like, that was battle damage? It only gets you so far. Like, if your seams are coming apart, you can't really call that battle damage. But I was like, I don't want to hem this stretch fabric. I don't want to make a neckline. And because it was Kirishima, I was like, oh, I can make it look really torn. But I didn't want to just leave it looking unfinished, which is why I went over with a lighter, and so it looked
It looks really good though.
finished.
Yeah.
But it was all done with pyrotechnics to avoid hemming.
Pyrotechnics.
Health and safety. Quick, get Jack, get her.
I love
I
it.
did it at home. My housemate often walks into my cosplay room and is like, "What is burning?" And I'm like,
My
fabric
costume.
some kind. I was burning a Kmart shirt for a
Oh, God.
Jason Victor photo shoot on Monday, and don't put fire to Kmart clothes.
Not the Anko fumes. Oh, damn.
Just don't do it. And wear
No.
PPE.
Oh, my God, please.
I am sitting here thinking, my God, the way that you create things.
Look, I'm really curious to see what people are going to turn out when they're, 60 or 70 and they've had, 20 years
Oh my
of breathing
gosh.
in questionable fumes and doing questionable
You'll have-
things to the skin on their body. So,
You'll have occupational lung disease of some description.
yeah, well, we don't find out about that kind of stuff till many years in the future. It's fine. It's fine.
Yep.
So,
If you ever want to hear a horror story, talk to Henchwench about.
Oh, yeah.
We got to go visit their workshop, which was so cool. We're completely derailing from the point of this podcast, but in other words, wear your PPE, your lungs will be destroyed, and by the age of 60, you will not be able to breathe.
Yeah, pretty awful.
Do as I say, not as I do.
I wanted to quickly ask you guys, what has been the highlight in your cosplay journey so far? It's a hard question because there's a lot to think about, but what's a highlight of your cosplay journey so far?
Vi, you can go first.
I need to think.
So a few years ago, I started guesting internationally, and I think that completely changed my perspective on cosplay and just really refreshed me in like crafting and everything associated with cosplay. Because I'd been making stuff in Australia for the past, getting on to 15 years at that time. And, I was seeing stuff being made in very particular ways that, are very unique to Australians and so on. And suddenly I just saw cosplay from so many more perspectives, and it gave me so much to think on from both a crafting perspective, and it also just introduced me to so many like new people who are now my friends. Just being able to speak to people from all different backgrounds and share ideas and, be creative with them has, just been a complete like life personality changer for me. It's really reignited my passion for cosplay and what really pushed me to doing cosplay as a full-time career.
That's cute. I love that.
That's really
All right,
nice.
what do you got, Jack? You don't have to top it. I just want your highlight. This isn't a competition.
Mine is a lot more impressive than me.
Oh.
But they have been doing it almost twice as long. So, maybe one day I'll get to Vi's level of.
We just want your personal highlight. This is like what do you call it?
I love gassing up my friends. Honestly, like I love gassing up my friends, but I think my highlight in my cosplay career has probably been working with Smash, like getting to the point where I am now. Like, I was event director for 23-24, and then as we've grown, we've created senior management, and I now sit as the exec director of events. We're running a second show. Like, I never would have gotten to this point without cosplay, and I think, back in 2023, I was ready to give up cosplay for good, like at the start of 2023, and then my friend was like, "Oh, you should apply for this role with Smash. Like, I think you'd be good at it." And I was like, event director, I'll never get that. And here I am 3 years later.
Oh.
So I think, honestly, I think doing that and being able to make the changes that I'm getting to make in terms of how we do cosplay stuff at Smash. And like I said, it's not been without its issues, and there's been, some really, really hard times doing it. Ultimately, everything that I do with Smash is for the community. And so seeing people enjoy the convention over the weekend, seeing all of the reels and the posts and the stories, it's just for me, I'm like, this is why I do it. This is why I go through like the blood, sweat, and tears of running an event the size that it is while also working full time.
That's nice. Hear that, Smash. Everyone else working at Smash. She loves her job. She's doing good.
I love my teams. Honestly, at big
They are
shout
lovely.
outs, big shout outs to Reppy and Ben on our board and Tina on our board. And then Daniel, who's one of my event managers, Jay, who's one of my event managers, and Will, who helped us. They were so exceptional over the weekend. And that's just some of my staff. But they're the people that, you know, even and I'm not gonna lie, there are points where you get through it and you're just like, because everyone's a volunteer, sometimes people let personal grievances get in the way of professionalism. And even going through those points when you're like, I just don't want to do this anymore, I just want to quit. Those are the people that really like
Step up.
reminded me why I do it and help me pull through. And yeah, it is really hard sometimes, but it's really, really worth it. And working with Vi to bring ECG back was, you know, a big highlight of this year.
Oh, nothing like some collaboration to make us just be a bit more
I
fulfilled.
often say, I was like, not my 2025 bingo card to become friends with Vi, but here we are, and I'm glad that it happened.
Oh, that's so wholesome, guys. I love it. I don't know if we even have time for my next question.
Give it your best question, Danny. What's your best question for the night here to sum it up? Here we go. Make it a good one. Otherwise, I want to be talking to you after this about like, what kind of question was that?
You can keep some of my yapping out.
No, we're running this. I'm not cutting anything.
I was curious about what everyone hopes cosplay looks like for Australia in the future, because we're a bit behind, I believe, compared to other countries. So I wanted everyone's opinion on that.
Good question, Danny.
Is that
Proud
a
of you.
good
That's a
question?
great question.
More international comps, and I think also to see events take it a bit more seriously.
Majuvi, what's your hopes and dreams for this country?
Gonna pretty much mirror what Jack said. I really want to see a variety of different international comps. So not just having a bunch of like costuming comps that all have the same kind of like scoring criteria and the same kind of outfits you can enter. I want to see competitions bringing in people who have not previously entered before and sort of like boosting the competitive community in like new ways and just encouraging people to have a go. I just want to see stuff growing in ways that, you know, creates like a new generation of cosplayers, both in the performance and costuming sort of disciplines within our country, because I think we have a lot of talent to showcase, and I'd love to share that with the rest of the world.
That's really nice. It does feel a little bit, you probably know as well as I do, the competition community, it's not super big. There are a few people who take it really seriously and they do very well because they are very talented, and you will obviously see the same names popping up here and there. But it is, like you said, it's great to want to encourage that to the newer generations coming through and the people who want to get into more of the crafting side. Not that it's a bad thing, but because it's so accessible, a lot of people just want to buy something and put it on, feel pretty, and that's fine. But I think as a result, it does kind of make that competitive side feel a little bit small, I suppose. So I suppose having more events does help it give more opportunity to more people to want to explore that dynamic, which would be really exciting to see.
Yeah.
I think the creative like crafting community in Australia is a lot bigger than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
I think we only think of it as a small like sector of people at the moment because people aren't showcasing
That's
their
true.
talents in the way
That's
that
true.
they could be at the moment.
Compete, guys, get on
That
stage
is-
and compete.
That is so true. A lot of the
Yeah,
Sorry,
hopefully by
like-
having more opportunities, we can actually see
Yeah.
more of these people in the future.
Yeah, that is so true. A lot of them don't have a big online presence either. Like they amazing and compete, and then I find their Instagram they have like one post. I'm like, please show me your work. I want to see it. Please give it to me.
And I think that's a big thing too, though. Like I feel like people sometimes feel if they don't have a following on social media that they're not, you know, relevant enough to get involved on that level. And
Mm.
you know, you look at the person who won Melbourne OzCC champs actually has like 200 followers, and her
Yeah.
costume was incredible. And I was like, follow,
Yeah.
follow, post more, tell me what you've done. And I think it's just, yeah, that's another thing is I think sometimes people do get wrapped up in the
They get
popularity
scared.
of it. Yeah.
Yep.
There is
100%.
one other thing I would love to see in Australia in the coming years, and that is people being even more supportive of each other than they currently are. So hyping their friends up to enter, you know, sharing, you know, the competitions that are currently on that weekend,
Yeah.
like the streams and, you know, the recorded videos, and sharing the winners and stuff. And, you know, every entrant who does go on stage, because I think for a long time, we've generally been pretty quiet on that front, and we could be doing a lot more to like promote like good vibes in the community, because I think doing that only benefits everyone.
That's really good
agreed.
way to put it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
What about you, Jeremy?
Danny,
Have time to.
no, look, we're going to get into our own discussion a bit later, Danny, but this isn't about us today. This isn't about us.
Cheers, about our two lovely guests.
And I think really echoing what Vi said, I think supporting each other and uplifting each other is, you know, we're a community. That's what we should be doing, you know.
And we're pretty small too. Like,
Yeah,
we
and
need
some
to
people
really stick
focus-
together.
Some people focus way too much on the negative. I'm like, guys,
Mm-hmm.
we're a bunch of adults dressing up as fictional characters. It ain't that deep. It ain't that serious. You know, and that's why I'm always gassing my friends up. That's why I'm always like, yeah, okay, I do cool things, but look at what this person's doing. You know, we should all share in each other's successes, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, thank you, Jack, and thank you, Vice, so much for joining us. I think it's been a while since we've got to yap about, I guess, the development of the Australian cosplay community in small ways, and this is another step forward. So when it becomes available, you guys heard it here first. There's a new con coming in November and a new competition,
Everyone.
which everyone should be entering. So
And smash Chibi.
Smash Chibi. So we'll hear more details about that soon. But for now, you know it's coming. So get your cosplays ready. Get your pennies ready to spend money, because it's coming. But again, thank you very much, Jack, and thank you very much, Vi, for joining us on tonight's episode, wherever you guys are listening from. You'll find all of their socials in the links below if you want to check out their incredible work. We'll obviously have some more information about Smash Chibi and ECG as the weeks come by. And one final plug, if you guys love what we do, check out our JustBeCos cosplay Patreon, where for the cost of a cup of coffee, you can come and join the fam. Actually, Danny, I'll talk to you about later, but I had every single member of our Patreon community come up and say hi to me on the weekend, which was really, really cute.
That
It
makes
was
me so
really cute.
happy.
I'll tell you more about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, but for now, thank you guys so much for joining us. And
you.
yeah, thanks everyone for listening in. We will talk to you next week.
Yep.
Next week. All right.
See you next week.
Everybody look at the camera and
Bye,
wave.
everyone.
All right. Bye.
Yes.